We got some marriage drama, and it might make you feel better about your own marriage. First story, I left my marriage for 8 months, had the time of my life, and then I went back. Biggest mistake ever. Leaving or coming back? Which one's the biggest mistake ever? This story came April 30th, 2026. I'm 30 female, my husband is 34 male. We dated for 3 years before getting married. His parents have lived with us since the beginning. Last year, I hit a wall. The entire household runs on me, cooking, cleaning, managing everything for everyone, including 2 fully grown adults who are perfectly capable of doing things for themselves. It was exhausting with a mother-in-law who's dominating and controlling. I just left one day. I packed up my stuff and I walked out. Yes, there was a dramatic fight and I was just done. And those 8 months were honestly the best months of my entire adult life. I slept properly for the first time in years. I traveled doing small trips, but they were completely mine. I cooked for myself, watched every show I had been putting off, met new people who just knew me as me. No in-laws, no household to manage, no one needing things from me constantly. I was myself again, lighter, happier, more relaxed. I remember thinking, wow, I actually really like this person. When did I stop being her? And then he came back. Calls every day, long messages, showing up, saying everything I had spent years waiting to hear. I miss you, I've changed, it'll be so different this time, please just come back. And I went back, because I'm human and because years of love don't just switch off even when part of you wishes it would. Within weeks, it was like those 8 months never even happened. Same house, same in-laws, same cooking and cleaning and managing everything for everyone while nobody notices or says thank you. Same husband who says nothing when his mom oversteps. I'm not a wife here, I'm just an unpaid help. The worst part is, I think I already knew. I knew deep down that nothing had actually changed. I went back anyway because I wanted so badly to believe that it would be different this time. I'm 30, no kids, 1 year into this marriage. I know what the obvious answer is, but I want to hear from people who have actually been through something like this. Did anyone go back and have it actually work out? And if you left for good, how did you finally have the courage to do it when everyone around you acts like you should be grateful you have a marriage to come back to? Be honest with me, please. I can handle it. Should I stick around here or move out again? My husband refuses to move out with me. He says he wants to live with his parents always. Well, you guys just want different things. Was this not discussed before we got married? If he said, I'm gonna live with my parents until the day they go, that's a very different marriage than if you are living on your own as a couple. It just is. The dynamic's different, the atmosphere is different. Naturally, it just would be. We have an update, and it came the next day. I showed my husband this post with all of your comments. He read everything. We talked all night. Now I don't know what to think, and I need advice again. I handed him my phone, and I watched his face as he read. The post, the comments, all of it. He was quiet for a really long time, and then he looked at me and said I had no idea that it had gotten this bad. We ended up talking all night, and we properly talked, the kind of talking we hadn't done in years. He apologized for never checking on me in those 8 months, said that he was too angry and too hurt, and he let that stop him from asking if I was okay. He said he should have spoken up for me against his family, that he watched things happen and stayed quiet when he should have said something. He admitted that, and then he made me some promises. On the baby front, he said he finally understands why I have been so resistant to wanting one. He said, take as much time as you need. Let's revisit it in 2 years when things feel more stable. And if anyone in the family pressures me before then, he will handle it. No more pressure, no more comments, no more pointed questions at family gatherings. He said when and if we have a baby, it will be when I'm genuinely ready, not a day before. On the work front, he said nobody will ever make me quit my job, and if anyone tries to, he will shut it down. But then in the same breath, he said that when it comes to choosing between work and family, I will need to choose his family. His example was if his mom isn't feeling well, I would need to stay home and take care of her and not go to work, family first in those types of situations. And on the living situation, he was honest, more honest than I expected. He said he will never move out from his parents. They are everything to him, and that is never going to change. But he said he'll make the environment at home better and easier, less suffocating. He acknowledged that the cooking in the household falls on me and said he would try to make it more manageable, but also said his mom is aging and the men in his family don't cook, so the cooking will still be mine to handle. And now I don't know what to feel. Part of me is really moved that he read everything and then sat with it, and that he apologized and did not get defensive. I know that's not nothing, but another part of me is still sitting here quietly going through each promise and feeling something complicated. The baby thing feels genuine, but 2 years is still a timeline someone else is setting for my body. The work thing sounds supportive until you get to the part where his mom's health will always outrank my job. What happens when this becomes a regular thing? What happens when every other week there's a reason that I would need to stay home? And the living situation, he said it simply, his parents are everything to him and he will never leave them, and I believe him, I really do. But what does that mean for me, and what does that mean for us? Cooking before work and after work every day for a household that will never shrink? He said he'll make it a better environment, but what does that actually look like? Better how? Easier how? The same house, the same people, just with a slightly softer atmosphere? And then imagine adding children into that?
That's too much, man!
Edit. I know he's going to involve his mom in this today and tell her what I've been up to, but I know what I have to do now. I do not want this life. I left last time abruptly in anger, hurt, and to come back. This time I'm a stronger woman who will be sitting in front of them, talking calmly and making it very clear that she does not want to be a part of this family anymore and she wants to move on. I'm so grateful I had this conversation with him yesterday. I've never felt so firm before this. Maybe you had to go back. Maybe this was all a blessing in disguise. It needed to happen. You needed to get away, see the life you do want, come back, give it another try. It's still the same, and it just reaffirms you don't want this life for yourself. And if he's not willing to make any of the changes you need of let's live alone in our own home, I just don't think it would work either way. Next story. Am I the a-hole for accidentally breaking up my manager's affair? Juicy.
Juicy.
This story came April 19th, 2026. I, 27 female, am an English teacher in Japan. I work at a company that sends me all over to teach. My furthest class is 40 minutes away. It's mainly women in their 40s and 50s. I alternate the class with my manager, 41 male. Let's call him Dave. Dave's married to a Japanese woman and also has a toddler. A few weeks back, I was teaching our shared class. The students wanted to ask me questions during the warm-up. They asked if I had a husband and questions about my family back home. One of them, we'll call her Micah, 43 female, suddenly asked if Dave has a girlfriend, and I said he's married with a child. She looked shocked, as did the others, and they pushed me again to confirm, so I did. I hadn't thought anything of it until last week when Dave called me into his office. He was visibly upset. He asked if I told the students about his family, and I said that I had. He was super angry and told me to never talk about his family again with students. I was still a bit confused, but I apologized and I said, okay. This week, Micah wasn't in class, and I noticed she wasn't in the attendance roll. I asked the others and they said she quit the class. It all made sense now. When I left class, Micah was waiting for me. She asked me if I was telling the truth about Dave or if I was confused. I said nothing but pulled out my phone and I showed her his Facebook photos of him and his family, which I made sure to screenshot. I went to the head office this morning to teach, and Dave came into my classroom after class and he was very angry. He closed the door and loomed over me saying, "I told you not to talk about my family with students." I asked what he meant, and he asked me what I said to Micah. I said I didn't say anything and that she technically wasn't a student anymore, so I didn't see any issue. I then said he seemed awfully concerned about me telling the students about his family and that perhaps the owner of the school would like to know why students were quitting the class. He stormed out. I'm quietly hoping this is the end, but something tells me there are other students that think he is single. Karma. Sweet, sweet karma. Edit. Edit. I got a Facebook message request from Micah and I accepted it. She sent me screenshots of texts between her and Dave. Let's just say they were spicy. I think she's heartbroken and I feel sorry that she got duped by him. He is so trash. Today we had a monthly staff meeting. The owners talked about a new contract they won and the staffing. At the end, Dave got up and gave a speech about keeping teachers' personal information confidential for safety reasons, and I glared at him while he spoke. We don't have an HR department because we are a small company. The owners are a Canadian man and his Japanese wife. I'm still torn whether or not to speak with the owners. I'm worried that it'll be easier to get rid of me versus Dave. I had a very interesting convo with another teacher, let's call him Jim, after Dave teacher's private speech at the staff meeting on Monday. Jim is a 36-year-old American male. He has a wife here who's currently pregnant. He said that he helped Dave host a Christmas party for students at another center back in December. It's a center where I have not taught. Jim, during the party, said some of the students were asking how his wife was doing with the pregnancy. One made a comment like, "You'll be the first foreign teacher to be a father at the school." And Jim started to say something about it, and Dave quickly cut him off and changed the subject. Jim thought it was awkward, but hadn't thought anything of it. I told Jim about what happened with Dave and Micah. He told me I have to bring this to the owners, although he doesn't have proof of Dave doing the same thing at the other school. He said it seems suspicious. I've made an appointment to see both managers on Friday afternoon. I've decided to show them the screenshots that Micah sent me. Wish me luck, I'm so nervous. I would be nervous too. Ooh. I like hearing about the drama, but I don't want to be in the drama, you know? And thank God she included the update. So let's find out how this really fun meeting went. I had my meeting today with the owners. The Canadian owner, Brian, came to the meeting, but his wife, Naomi, couldn't make it. I was honestly so nervous because I really like this job and I didn't want to jeopardize it, but I was concerned that Dave would not let this go. There's a lot of travel involved, but I can study on the train between classes. I printed the screenshots that Micah sent me on the spicy text exchange between her and Dave so that I had all the receipts. I also kept a record of dates and times where the events happened. When I sat down, I felt absolutely sick. Brian asked if I wanted water and looked very concerned. I started from the beginning and made sure to apologize for talking about another teacher's personal life in class and that it was just an honest mistake. I told him about Micah sending me a message request on Messenger and the screenshots, which I produced from my bag. I told him that Dave had cornered me in the classroom. Finally, I pulled out my employment contract and printed to the clause that stated it is strictly prohibited to have a relationship with a student outside of class, and I said it was likely the same for Dave. At this point, my hands were shaking and I felt sweaty. Brian sat quietly for a minute, processing, and looked very concerned. He said that it was an honest mistake on my part and that he was glad that I had the courage to come to him with this information because it looked bad from a business perspective for teachers to be dating students. Absolutely. You're doing Brian a favor. He doesn't want that reputation for his business. No one would. He told me not to worry about Dave and that he was the one who was in the wrong by crossing a line with a student. He said he would talk to Naomi about the situation and decide the best way forward. He also said my job was safe and not to worry about it over the weekend. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Dave now. I'll update next week when I find out. We have the updates. I love when they include the full story. Next mini update. I went for drinks with some other teachers last night. After a couple drinks, we were more relaxed, and one of them said that Dave had been trying to dig up dirt on me this last week or so. He asked if I hung out with students outside of class or if I had been late to class. I don't hang out with students outside of class because it's prohibited, so I'm safe. I didn't tell them about Dave and Micah because I'm sure it'll all come out next week. Seriously, he is giving desperate vibes on his part. Of course he is. I'm not surprised. Imagine he has to explain to his wife why he got let go. He's just gonna make something up. He'll probably say he quit. Final update, we made it. I ended up being out of the office last week because I was filling in for a sick teacher, but I'm in a group chat with some of my colleagues, so I was kept in the loop. They said on Monday Dave had been taken off the teaching schedule. There was an announcement on Friday that Dave was leaving the school. That was a week after my chat with the owner. I'm honestly shocked that it was that quick. I've just come out of a meeting with both of the owners. They said that Dave decided to quit. I coped a lecture on not talking about other teachers' personal stuff in class from the Japanese owner. The meeting ended with them thanking me again for coming forward. So it was a bit of a confusing meeting, all in all. Well, they lost a teacher, so I'm sure they're bummed about that. But ultimately, bye, Dave.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. Or your wife. You guys know what time it is. It's time to drink our water. It's hydration station. Cheers. This is your reminder. I don't care what you drink. Whatever's in your cup, by all means. But take a sip of water today. Hi, Angel. Yeah, you don't like that construction noise, huh? It's okay, honey. It's just construction. Guys, she can't handle any loud noises. She hates it. And I don't blame her. It's so loud. You want to stay with Mama? Okay. You can stay with us, but you guys say hi. Guys say hi, guys. Oh, you don't like that loud banging? I know. It's okay. They're doing work in our building. They have to replace a pipe. Hi, friends. Quick update on the sound. I appreciate your patience as I was testing out that other microphone. I ordered a new one. It's just not going to be the one that works, okay? So I ordered a new one. It's coming this week. So you're going to see a different experience with the audio. I am trying to improve my camera, the audio, everything I haven't invested into my equipment in 4.5, almost 5 years since I started this journey. So I feel even grateful that I am in a position where I can upgrade my audio and my visuals for the channel. So that's all to you guys. Truthfully, like, my gratitude is beyond words. And I hope you guys like the new setup once it all gets figured out. I hope it's better quality for you guys. And thank you for your patience, because I know it's not fun testing out new things. My pregnant wife's friend privately made a very suggestive comment towards me this evening. I'm male 31 and my wife is female 29. This story came April 24th, 2026. This evening, I went out with my wife, 2 of her friends, and one of our couple friends for dinner. My wife is almost 5 months pregnant with our twin daughters. I am insanely happy in our marriage and I absolutely adore her with all of my heart. I'm aware of the fact that she's a group chat with some of her close friends where they maybe share some intimate things in our marriage. She's made jokes about things that some of her friends have said. One of her older friends in particular has made some jokes and has been maybe a little overly playful about me. And I've kind of noticed that she wasn't always joking. I caught a bad vibe from her the times that I met her, and she would ask me super candid questions that were maybe not appropriate to ask a friend's spouse. When I told my wife about the thing, she said she thought that she was just joking and she thought it was funny. But I was 99% sure that she wasn't. Anyways, at dinner tonight, my wife and the other friend left to go to the bathroom before the food arrived. And the other couple was at the far end of the table, and she was sitting next to me on my right, on the opposite end. As soon as they walked away, she touched my arm and said something along the lines of, "Hey, I know you and my wife's name really have a lot going on right now and that it's a lot. If you ever need to talk about anything, I'm always here and I'll always keep it between us." It wasn't what she said, but how she said it, and it was very clear what she meant. I work in sales leadership and I read people for a living, and there was no misunderstanding about what she meant, and she made several comments towards me before. After I very directly dismissed it, she implied very suggestively that it was a standing offer. That's when I was very certain she meant something very different. The point is, I want to address it with my wife and I want to do it the right way. I know she won't be upset with me, but my biggest concern is that she will be dismissive at first and think that it wasn't legitimate. She's also only been in the US for about 4 years and moved here from Sweden, and this girl is one of her first friends that she has made, and she has struggled to make friends a little bit. I just want to be straight up without hurting her too much. How do I handle this conversation the right way? Ooh, I don't know. I think it's important to note that whether this friend is joking or not, I think you need to be firm on it's making me uncomfortable. Whether she's joking or not, I'm uncomfortable.
I'm really uncomfortable.
And that's what should matter the most here. We have an update, and it came the next day. I sat down and I talked to my wife about it this morning, and I just told her everything directly and straight up while offering her assurance. She handled it very well, but I think she's still processing some stuff. She also admitted that one of her friends told her in confidence that she may have said some not nice things about her and made several comments about me in conversations with other friends, so my wife was already a little suspicious. The other thing my wife picked up on that I actually didn't is that we were sitting in a large U-shaped outdoor cabana booth kind of thing that can probably fit 10 to 12 people easily. My wife was sitting to my left and she sat directly to my right at the very end of the booth, only next to me, instead of sitting next to her or our other friends where there was a ton of open space. So my wife did pick up on that. We're working on how to handle it, but I think the best course of action is that I straight up message this girl, tell her I don't appreciate it, and that I told my wife. She will have to figure out how to address that with her friend group, but she basically said that she can F off. I'm proud of her for handling that in stride. Thankfully, we have a final update, so we're gonna find out how this conversation really went down. I ended up messaging her on Instagram yesterday evening, and I basically told her she was an awful person and how disrespectful that was, and I straight up told her that my wife is aware. She has not responded, but I know she saw it. My wife told a few people privately over the phone what happened, and it kind of came out that several of them did not like her and were kind of put off by some of the things that she has said and done, but they were nice to her because she was my wife and one of the other girls' friend. Several of them actually genuinely apologized to her and me for not saying anything because they didn't know she was actually serious about some of the things that she said. My wife has handled it super well, and I think it's a positive for her because she knows who her true friends are and can surround herself with only positive influences, and I think that's great. I hate that she has to deal with this, but sometimes we learn the most from tough situations. Yeah. Goodbye. Not a friend. Not a friend at all. Next story. My husband wants to divorce because my mother-in-law sided with me after he cheated. I'm already angry. This story came May 8th, 2026. Oh, it is hot. Right off the press. Oh my God. My husband, 46 male, wants a divorce from me, 38 female, because his mother sided with me after he cheated with his coworker, 25 female, and got her pregnant. For context, my mother-in-law has always been amazing to me. She's still quite young because she had my husband when she was 15, but she has treated me like I am another daughter. She has 4 kids in total, 2 boys, including my husband, and 2 girls. My mother-in-law is one of the kindest people you will ever meet. I was anxious when I first got married because I was a white woman marrying into a black family, but my mother-in-law accepted me immediately, treated me like a queen, and lifted me up more than my own husband did. When I had our first baby, my mother-in-law respected my boundaries to wait a couple of days before visiting, as I had a very traumatic birth. When the day came for her to come to the hospital, she made a beeline straight for me, completely ignoring my newborn daughter altogether. And when I made a joke about it, she told me that I was her baby first. That is so precious. Oh my God, immediately I tear up. I am such a sucker. I cry over anything happy. I love this woman so much. Fast forward, my husband and I have been married for 9 years. I am aware that we have an age gap, and it's something I am questioning myself. But we have 4 children together. 5th is on the way. I knew something was up when he had a total freak out over me using the family iPad, which his Google account was logged into. Then things started becoming more clear to me from there. Things like walking away at a grocery store and angling his phone away from me while texting, aggressively insisting to me that I let him know when I would be coming home early some nights. I am a 3rd shifter. We would have huge blow-up arguments over it, but I kept brushing things away and letting them go because he insisted that he was not cheating and that he loved me and only me. That turned out to be a lie. To my surprise, his coworker reached out to me. Turns out he had been having an affair with her for 3.5 years, and their affair started when I was pregnant. And now she is 6 months pregnant. What's worse is he literally brought her over to our house while I was away with our kids. See, I can't even imagine the rage you would feel. It's different when there's like kids involved and you're pregnant. Oh my gosh. He spent my postpartum periods doggy styling her by the pool or in his company work truck. I confronted my husband and it went about as well as you would expect. He blamed me for everything, telling me he has needs and that I was not fulfilling him sexually. He craved a, quote, young, fresh body, his words, not mine, and that I had let myself go, even though I most definitely have not. I work out every day, even with 4 kids, and I'm currently pregnant with my 5th. I did not tell my mother-in-law at first because I didn't want to drive a wedge between mother and son, but my oldest son let it slip to her that dad was sleeping on the couch. My mother very gently asked if everything was okay and she didn't want to intrude on our marriage. And it all came out after that. My mother-in-law lost her shite on him. I don't know everything that was said to my husband, but I know that they were not kind words. My mother-in-law told me verbatim, "Honey, it is your choice to leave or stay with him. Either way you choose, I am right here with you." Fast forward 2 months. I decided to stay with him like an idiot. He cried and promised me all these things and that he would change. And like an idiot, I believed him. Now he wants a divorce, not only because he wants to be with the mistress and their kid on the way, but because his mother sided with me. He insists that she was his mother and should have supported him and stuck by him. My mother-in-law apparently turned him away when he went to her house to sleep for a night, telling him, "You will not bring your whoring into the house." I don't know where we currently stand. He is staying with his mistress currently and has not yet served me divorce papers. Meanwhile, my mother-in-law, my mother, and I will be spending a peaceful Mother's Day at a cabin in Tennessee. I guess I shared all this to say, appreciate the good mothers you have, and mothers, stand by your children, even those by marriage, because you are the bedrock of our society. It does not end there though. We have an update. Already within an hour of posting this, stuff has already changed. Call it God or the universe, I'm not sure which. My lawyer was contacted as soon as I saw these comments because they just validated what I was already feeling in my soul. To everyone wondering if I want this man back, the answer is a resounding hell to the F no. If the cheating wasn't bad enough, the fact that a 40-something-year-old has been sleeping with a 20-something-year-old coworker, it's already a massive no from me. The killer is that he has paraded this girl around me, acting like they were just coworkers the whole time. This girl smiled in my face at work parties and work trips while I barely was able to stand up from being heavily pregnant. She knew about me all along, and I suspect only told me about the affair to gloat. That man is never stepping foot into the house that my dead father paid for. The house is mine, the children that I birthed and raised almost solely on my own, with help from my mother and mother-in-law, are mine, and so are our cars that my wages paid for. I will fight tooth and nail to get what is mine and what is owed to me. The comments helped me realize that I was being petty and wasting time. I said, I don't know where we stand, not because I want him back as a husband, but because I wanted to call his bluff. Because he's a spineless coward. I was waiting for him to come crawling back and beg for my forgiveness like the loser he is. And within 30 minutes of me making this post, he did. His mistress, it turns out, has a boyfriend. And he broke up with her upon discovering them together and kicked them out of the house that he owns. Oh my God. I spent less than 10 minutes on the phone with him, listening in total silence to him begging and crying to let him come back, hearing him say that he loves me and that he made a mistake and he didn't want to lose his home and his wife and his kids. I said nothing and I hung up. His number is now blocked and the entire conversation was recorded for the lawyer, which is completely legal because we live in a one-party consent state. Alrighty then. I'm curious as a mom out there, if your son or daughter was the cheater in a marriage that had children, are you backing up your child or are you backing up the partner who was betrayed? Genuinely curious. I get that would be hard because they're your children, but I want to know. I'm sorry, Lila. Hold on. I'm gonna move and your head's on my arm. Oh, I'm so sorry to inconvenience you. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. I'll see you tomorrow.